Everyone says the same thing whenever an international Mobile Legends tournament begins. The team with the most stacked roster will win it all. The biggest stars, the best mechanics, the flashiest highlights. That's supposed to be the formula, but that belief is becoming one of the biggest myths in MLBB esports. MSC 2026 is proving exactly why. With a 10-team wildcard, a 16-team main stage, and expanded qualification paths that now bring together champions from more regions than ever before. Raw talent alone is no longer enough to lift an international trophy. Welcome back to Mobile Legends News. The international MLBB scene has evolved into something far bigger than the classic Southeast Asia rivalry that defined its early years. According to the official MLBB esports structure for MSC 2026, the world's best teams now qualify from Southeast Asia, EMEA, the Americas, EECA, and East Asia, creating the most globally diverse competitive field yet. Every region develops its own drafting priorities, macro decisions, laning habits, and tempo, forcing teams to constantly adapt throughout the tournament. Winning internationally today isn't simply about being stronger than one region. It's about surviving an event where every opponent can challenge you in completely different ways under relentless pressure. The first and probably biggest myth surrounding international Mobile Legends is the belief that the tournament is decided by whichever team has the strongest individual players. Every season, fans rank rosters based on mechanical skill alone. They compare junglers, debate which gold laner has the highest damage output, or argue over which mid laner has the deepest hero pool. While individual talent absolutely matters, MSC 2026 demonstrates that talent by itself is no longer enough to consistently win an international championship. The reason is simple. The structure of the tournament demands more than just mechanical excellence. According to the official MLBB esports format, teams must first earn their place through regional qualifications before entering either the main stage directly or the highly competitive 10-team wildcard. Even before a championship contender reaches the final phase of the event, it has already survived months of regional competition and, for some organizations, another layer of international elimination. That journey rewards complete teams rather than collections of superstar players. Think about what happens when a roster enters an international tournament. During domestic leagues, players become familiar with their regular opponents. They understand common drafting habits, preferred jungle paths, comfort heroes, and even the tendencies of individual coaches. International competition removes almost all of those advantages. Suddenly, every series introduces a different style of Mobile Legends. One opponent may prioritize relentless early game aggression, another may happily scale into the late game. Some regions emphasize disciplined macro and objective trading, while others constantly search for creative skirmishes. Teams cannot simply rely on one dominant strategy because every match presents a completely different challenge. This is where raw mechanics begin to lose their advantage. A mechanically gifted player can dominate familiar situations, but international tournaments constantly force competitors into unfamiliar ones. Success becomes less about winning every lane and more about understanding how the entire map changes from series to series. Communication, adaptation, and preparation become just as valuable as individual outplays. Momentum is another factor that fans often underestimate. Unlike a domestic regular season where a bad match can be corrected the following week, international tournaments rarely offer that luxury. A single defeat changes confidence, preparation, and pressure almost immediately. Teams must recover mentally between matches while simultaneously preparing for opponents they may have only recently identified. That creates an environment where resilience often separates champions from contenders. The best international teams are rarely the ones that never struggle. Instead, they are the teams that adjust the fastest after setbacks. They learn from mistakes, modify their drafts, and improve throughout the tournament rather than expecting their raw talent to solve every problem. Preparation also becomes significantly more difficult because of the expanded international field. Official regional qualification now brings together representatives from Southeast Asia, EMEA, the Americas, EECA, and East Asia. Every region develops different priorities throughout the season, based on its own competition. Coaches must therefore prepare for far more possibilities than they would inside the domestic league. That means analysts, coaching staff, and strategic planning becomes just as important as player mechanics. A team with 5 incredible players but limited adaptability can quickly find themselves struggling against disciplined opponents that understand exactly how to exploit predictable drafting patterns. This leads directly into another myth that fans still believe. People often assume that if a team dominates its domestic league, it will automatically dominate internationally as well. History continues to prove otherwise. Domestic championships demonstrate consistency within one competitive environment. International tournaments introduce completely different environments that cannot always be replicated during regional play. A champion from one region may have spent months after facing opponents with similar drafting priorities and similar macro philosophies. Then, at MSC, the same team suddenly faces organizations that solve the game in completely different ways. One region may place tremendous emphasis on securing neutral objectives before forcing team fights. Another may willingly sacrifice early objectives in exchange for superior side lane pressure. Some regions rotate supports extremely early to create jungle advantages, while others prioritize protecting gold lane resources throughout the opening minutes. Each approach can be effective. The challenge is learning how to respond when facing them back-to-back across an international tournament. That is why domestic dominance cannot guarantee international success. Being the best team in one league does not automatically prepare you for every strategic variation that exists around the world. The expanded global ecosystem has only increased this challenge. With more qualifying regions entering MSC 2026, the diversity of playstyles becomes even greater. Coaches are required to study opponents they rarely encounter during the regular season. Players must recognize unfamiliar hero priorities, unusual rotations, and creative drafting concepts with very little preparation time. Even small differences become significant. Perhaps another region values a hero that barely appears in your domestic league. Perhaps an opposing coach consistently saves a surprise counterpick until the final game of a series. Perhaps an unfamiliar jungle path changes the timing of the first turtle fight. These details may sound minor, but at the highest level, championships are often decided by teams that adapt to these adjustments faster than anyone else. Another important point is that international Mobile Legends is no longer defined by a single dominant meta. While global patches provide a same balance changes for every region, each competitive scene interprets these patches differently. Different coaches identify different strengths. Different players maximize different heroes. Different leagues naturally develop in their strategic identities throughout the season. By the time those regional champions finally meet at MSC, they are not bringing identical versions of the same game. They are bringing different interpretations of the current meta. That forces every team to think beyond comfort picks and familiar strategies. Championship contenders must constantly learn, evolve, and adjust throughout the tournament instead of assuming that whatever worked at home will automatically work against the rest of the world. And that's exactly why winning an international MLBB tournament has become so difficult. The biggest myth is believing that championships belong to the team with the most talented roster or the most dominant domestic season. The reality is much more demanding. Modern international MLBB rewards adaptability over predictability, preparation over reputation, teamwork over individual brilliance, and continuous improvement over early tournament hype. Those qualities, more than mechanics alone, are what separates international champions from everyone else. Basically, international MLBB isn't won through reputation, highlight reels, or even complete domestic dominance alone. Those achievements may earn a team respect, but they don't guarantee an international title. Championships belong to the teams that adapt the fastest, solve the widest variety of opponents, and continue improving throughout every stage of the tournament. With MSC 2026 featuring an expanded global field and an even more demanding competitive structure, that reality has never been clearer, or more difficult to ignore. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think is the biggest myth about winning international MLBB? Is it believing that superstar players always carry teams to championships? or that dominating your home region automatically translate to MSC success? Let us know in the comments and tell us the biggest lesson you think fans still underestimate about international Mobile Legends. Till next time.